friends, or maybe more. Earn a 20 quid free bet for every friend you refer to Paddy Power, thanks to our Friends with Benefits programme. Log in to your Paddy Power account and share your referral link to get started. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello and welcome to this Monday Postcast. I'm Maddie Plell, joined in the studio by James Hill and Robbie Wilders. We have Paul Binfield from Paddy Power on the line as well. Lots to review this weekend. It was action-packed, both over jumps and on the flat. Lots of classic clues there. Let's start off with Air and the Scottish Grand National, the big one to start us off with. Taking Risks was the winner. We've got a picture of him on the screen behind us. Nicky Richards, a win for the North, and he was quite animated in the aftermath, guys, saying that, you know, Northern trainers, they need the ammunition because they can get the results. Do you think he was right to be so sort of forthright, Jimmy?
I think he was making a good point, yeah. It's been tough for Northern trainers, I would say, in the last 10 years. I mean, you go back to the 1970s and they were the dominant force in jump racing. That's not the case nowadays. So they need these big wins to kind of put them on the map, and it's difficult to go to Cheltenham and get them. So this provides them a good opportunity, a competitive handicap up north, and Taking Risk took it well. I mean, he
did take a few risks on the way around.
I was going to say his jumping was a bit iffy, but he travelled well all the way through, and I thought he stayed on really well. So yeah, great result for the Richards yard.
Yeah, Binners, I know afterwards they quoted him for the Bet365 Gold Cup and next year's National. If people were interested in him for those targets, what prices would you offer?
Well, Maddie, brilliant performance from Nicky again. For the next year's Grand National, we don't see him being a complete national horse at this early stage, and he's a 66 to 1 chance. And for that Bet365 Gold Cup, 40 to 1, Maddie, for that. So a big price, but if he brushes up his jumping, you never know.
Yeah,
a bit soon, that, couldn't it? This is a good performance. I couldn't have picked out that winner in a month of Sundays. I'm not sure how strong a Scottish National it was. Quite a few late long runners on account of the ground, wasn't there? Ningo Dollar came out, Beware the Bear came out. A couple of Michael Scudamore's horses came out. Yeah, I'm not sure how good a race it was. I was a little bit disappointed with Vintage Clouds. I really liked him going into it. I think it's fair to say.
He was up there in the van for a long way, wasn't he? But
he was, yeah. He just sort of tired, didn't he? And got pegged back by the field. It's probably fair to say he won't be paying for Tom Park's wedding at this stage.
No, it won't. Poor Parky. Some eye catchers from in behind, guys. I mean, Big River, his performance was a bit of an eye catcher. And Cloth Cap, he ran well for a young horse, inexperienced in that sort of race.
Cloth Cap went well, yeah. John Joe O'Neill, quite unexposed. I won't be giving up on him next season. Might the Bet365 Gold Cup come a bit soon, I'm not so sure. But yeah, definitely one to keep on side, I'd say.
Okay, the rest of the action at Air, we had Verdana Blue, who was supreme in the Scottish Champion Hurdle under Conor Brayson. Secret Investor winning that Grade 2 chase for Paul Nicholls, who's farmed that race in recent years. Let's start off with Verdana Blue, chaps. Jimmy, I mean, she just needs fast ground, doesn't she?
Needs fast ground to be her best. I mean, actually, I think if it had been good to self, she would have won that easily. She was just a different class from the rest of them. She was right back to her best there. She hadn't really been in the best of form in her previous two starts on the flat and in the Champion Hurdle. Admittedly, the ground was dead against her in the Champion. But I thought she was given a lovely ride by Conor Brace, and she was just quickened away from them, was in a different league. I mean, not surprising when you think about it, given that, you know, she did beat Bouvardere fair and square over Christmas. When she's fine on good to stop, but when she gets really quick ground, there are very few hurdlers around that can live with her.
Yeah, and Robbie, if she was yours, what sort of races would you be looking at?
Oh, if she was mine, I was discussing it with one of our colleagues in the studio. I'm not in the studio, sorry, in the office on Saturday, and it's surprising that she's not got an entry in the Punchestown Champion Hurdle. Just going through some of the runners in that, it looks it's like weak enough for you at this stage. We've not got Espoir de Laine. Bouvardere could obviously go, but we've got Sharjah in there. On good ground, you'd say Verdana Blue could certainly put up to Sharjah. He was obviously very impressive in the Grade 1 at Leopardstown over Christmas. But providing the good ground comes, that's the absolute key to her, isn't it? If it was soft ground, then yeah, you wouldn't have her necessarily winning that. But yeah, I know they're talking about going for the Melbourne Cup on the flat. Very ambitious owners. I wouldn't be surprised to see her supplemented for Punchestown.
Okay, yeah, maybe that would be a good idea. We'll move on to the flat action then. At Newbury, there was a few classic trials, or maybe there wasn't. What do you guys think? We'll start off with the Greenham. Muhatha, obviously no too darn hot, but I thought he was quite impressive, Robbie.
Yeah, it was a good performance. You have to respect any horse that wins a Greenham first time out. that should put him cherry ripe for the Guineas. I think he'd have a decent chance there. I wouldn't necessarily say that Too Darn Hot is quaking in his boots after that performance, but
do you think he'll run Too Darn Hot in the Guineas? Is there any doubt in your mind?
Well, we don't know exactly the well-being of Too Darn Hot at the moment. That would be the concern, but we'll wait to hear more from John Gosden in the coming days. But yeah, that would certainly seem to be the plan, but we need more intel at this stage.
Yeah, Binners, obviously with the Craven meeting this week, we're going to have a lot of movers in the Guineas markets, but what price is Muhathir now?
Well, we went 12 from 33, Maddie. Very impressive performance. Deserves to take his chance. And reading Angus Golden and Marcus Begonning today, looks like he will. Too Darn Hot has drifted badly in the last few days since he missed the Greenham. He's now 2-1 favourite. And then we have Magna Grecia and 10 Sovereigns on 5, 7 Zakusti, 8 Persian King, and 10 Calix, and then 12 Mahafa and others.
Thanks very much. Jimmy, what do you think of Muhathir? I think he's a pretty solid each way bet if you were wanting to take on the favourite.
Well, I'm glad here that they're thinking about him taking his chance, because that was an impressive performance. There are two big question marks, obviously. I mean, one, Newmarket on the Rowley Mile, it's a very different track from Newbury.
This is true.
Mahafa's all his forms at Newbury, which is tends to be on the slow side, completely flat. Newmarket gets very quick, and of course the Rowley Mile is very undulating, so it'll be a very different test in terms of conditions, and obviously stamina as well. There's got to be a question mark there. But he's got plenty of speed. I like him. I thought that was a better race than I was expecting, actually. The problem is for him, this year's Guineas, particularly if Too Darn Hot turns up in top form, it's a very good race indeed. I mean, it's not just him. You've got horses like 10 Sovereigns. Maybe Persian King could turn up as well. I mean, it's a very, very classy renewal.
Yeah, more of Persian King shortly, but we'll move on to the Fred Darling then, the fillies equivalent. Won by Dandu, Gerald Mosse, of course, winning the first two big races on the card. Were you surprised, Jimmy?
Not really. I mean, it was a very open race. There were quite a few fillies you could have given a chance to. I know the first four finished clear of the rest, but I just didn't think it was a great race. I mean, I would expect So Perfect to come on for that run. I still have my doubts as to whether she'll stay a mile, but I wouldn't be in a rush to take 12-1 about Dandu. The problem is that there are very few horses for the 1,000 guineas that you fancy. I mean, there's nothing from last season that really came out and caught your eye. So I'll be watching the Nelgwyn with interest, really. That could be key to finding the winner.
Yeah, indeed. Robbie, Dandu, what do you make of
she
run?
had the form in the book last season, second to Just Wonderful in the Rockfell. That's looking quite good. Main Edition was in behind. We quite like Dancing Vega beforehand, didn't we? Bit disappointing back there.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, Daughter of Lope de Vega we're going through his progeny and hasn't actually had too many Group 1 horses in his offspring. Bellardo is the one that stands out for Roger Varian. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how good a race it was. I thought the second was a very eye-catching, iconic choice for Tom Dascombe. Absolutely rattled home to grab that. And interestingly, I was going through her form. She was beaten in a nursery last year of 75 in August, so she's come forward a hell of a long way. But as Jimmy says, it's a wide open 1,000 guineas, and we're kind of waiting for someone to really grab the market by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, but it's just going back to you. If anyone wants to have a look at Dandu for the 1,000 guineas, how much did she shorten in the market?
Yeah, she's 10-1 from 16 now, Maddie. David Ellsworth expressing a few reservations about Newmarket, wishing the Guineas would be run at Newbury rather than Newmarket. 8-1 favourite, Skitter Scatters. Robbie and James have absolutely right. It's an open 1,000 guineas this season. Then 10 Fairyland, Just Wonderful, Dan2, 12 Lady Kaya, and it's 14-1 bar.
Very open race indeed, so I'm sure there's some each way value to be enjoyed there. Robbie, we know you're a bit of an Irish racing aficionado. What did you make of the action in Ireland?
Yeah, really good action in Ireland. I thought the Alleged Stakes won by Magical was the best flat race we've seen all season. She looks a filly going places. I made a shout in the office on Saturday that this could be the 4th best filly in the world behind Enable, Sea of Class and Almond Eye. Yet she's set to taking Group 1 targets. For in behind, Flag of Honour shaped well in second over an inadequate 1 mile 2 trip. He looks like he'll have a big season. And the Trobe stayed on from quite a mile back as well to grab third. I really like Hazapol beforehand. He was 5th in the Derby last year, travelling really strongly. He won the Derringstown fresh last season as well, so I thought everything was in his favour, especially with Dermot Well going so well, but he was kind of disappointing in 5th. We also had the Gladness Stakes over 7 furlongs, won by, the name escapes me, at the moment. Imaging of Don't Worlds, that is it, yeah. And Noni's Never travelled well in seconds, didn't quite get there. Looks a 3-year-old potentially going places. And Le Bravido made his first start for Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah, he was quite eye-catching, I thought.
He was, yeah. He was quite weak in the betting beforehand, but he looks like he could be taking some Group 1 targets in the fullness of time.
Yeah, Jimmy, what about you? What did you make of Magical in particular? She seems like she's just going to improve this season.
You would expect so. We didn't see much of her till late on last season, but when we did see her, she was very impressive. Ran such a great race in the States, didn't she? I expected her to win that race. I mean, she was running against quite a load of stayers. She's got more speed than them, so I would have been disappointed if she hadn't won and won it well, actually. But it's put her spot on, I think, for a race like the Tattersalls Gold Cup or something similar. And yeah, particularly when she gets a bit of cut, she's going to be a big player in all the Group 1s.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Enable next in the Coronation Cup, so it'd be great to see her back as well. Lots of flying fillies this season, lots of mares to look ahead to. They seem to be taking all the headlines at the moment. And one mare that did recently bow out is Winx. We've got not a lot to talk about this weekend, so I think it's good if we can dedicate some time to her and her achievements. I mean, Jimmy, just a remarkable horse. I think you have to respect her. She's very much Marmite. Lots of people want to crab her. Lots of people love her. Where do you stand? Do you think she really was?
I don't know how you can crab a horse who wins 33 races on the spin, and so many of them Group 1s as well. No, she's one of the great fillies that we've seen, and she's been absolutely fantastic. It's difficult to tell really when you're talking about form the other side of the world how good it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, we had it tested with one or two horses, but she beat everything so easily all the time. And yeah, she's done wonders for the sport over there. I mean, racing is absolutely taking off. Flat racing is down under. So she's really, really special. And yeah, it's great to see her win again.
Yeah, Ruby, I think that's the point for me, at least anyway. I'm kind of tired now of all the comparisons, and it's hard to quantify, isn't it? You know, even with horses like Hartnell and Ben Battle, if they were running to form over there and things like that. And I just think if you take it on what she's actually done for the sport, you know, the people she's brought in, and it's incredible to win that many, like Jimmy says, that many races in a row, be at your best over 7 furlongs, over a mile 2, on soft ground, on good ground, different tracks, different places. She's obviously a great mare.
Yeah, she shows so much, the versatility there, the constitution to keep coming back. Saw an interesting graphic on Twitter actually about the amount of, I forget the exact number, but there are something like 30 or 40 Group 1 winners she's actually beaten. I know that they might have, as you said, they might have not been completely peak at the time that they were racing Winx, but what an unbelievable training performance. And yeah, I don't think there are as many crabbers as there used to be now. I think people are starting to appreciate what she's done, and yeah, she'll be sorely missed on the track.
Yeah, exactly. Binners, what are your thoughts on Winx bowing out, obviously?
Well, a lot of people would say I'm not an expert on British racing, Maddie, let alone Australian racing, but I mean, 33 consecutive wins, 25 of those at the top level. She's won over £14 million in prize money, and it's nearly 1,500 days since her last defeat. She's an absolute superstar, and the sport just grows and grows in Australia, largely thanks to her.
Yeah, exactly. And before we go for a break, as I said, not covering too much of the weekend action today, but a horse that did catch many people's eye yesterday was Persian King, Jimmy. Now, I'm doing this slightly selfishly because I backed him last year for the Guineas, and I'm begging Andre Fabre changes his mind. But if Too Darn Hot doesn't turn up, or if there are doubts about him, I think this horse is a real star. I was really impressed. I wasn't expecting him to be as impressive as he was yesterday.
Yeah, but because he's quite a big strapping sort, so he'll come on for that. He was utterly dominant. He looked a nice horse last season. You expected him to win, probably not as easily as you said. It's a tricky decision because clearly they want to step him up in trip, and you do get very quick ground at Newmarket, so they won't want to jar him up or anything. So I think ideally they'd like to keep him for the Poulain and then the Prix de Jockey Club, but if Too Darn Hot doesn't run, say the other Godolphin horse who's running in the Craven, Zakowski,
yeah.
he disappoints on Wednesday, then I think they'll find it very difficult not for him to take his chance, because he is at the moment one of the best 3-year-old colts in Europe.
Yeah, beat Magna Grecia last year in that autumn stakes. That was an impressive performance. Robbie, as Jimmy touched on there, I think it's all about how Godolphin's horses perform this week at Newmarket.
Yeah, we're going to go on to talk about the Craven, but a lot of it depends on how Zakuski and Royal Marine running that. Don't forget about Royal Marine. He won the John Lagardère last season, beating Broome. Yeah, that's going to really... Godolphin have a lot of darts to fire, and that will be key as to where the Persian King goes. Yeah, the ground would be a massive thing. Andre Faber said that after the race. If there's a bit more cut at Newmarket, he'd consider that more strongly. But yeah, I'd absolutely echo what you guys have been saying. He looks a horse going places this season.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, Binners, just really quickly, what did you cut Persian King to for the 2,000 guineas?
Persian King 8-1 from 12-1 for that race. Maddie, and for the French Derby, we went 7-2 from 5. 7-2 favourite. We've only one other in the market, Slalom.
Thanks very much, Binners. That's excellent. Fingers crossed Persian King runs at Newmarket, and we'll be back just after this break.
What's my horse's handicap? The fact that you're backing him? Everyone loves a newbie. That's why Paddy Power Games are giving all new customers 60 free spins on daily jackpot games. New Paddy Power Games customers only, one per customer. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to this Monday Postcast. Now, with so much high quality action this week, during the week, we're going to skip past Haydock and Musselburgh at the weekend. We will, of course, go into those cards in more detail on Friday's show, so be sure to tune in then. But guys, as we've been talking about, the Craven meeting kicks off at Newmarket this week. I'll just run us through where we're racing this week. Tomorrow is Newmarket Exeter Wolverhampton. Wednesday, Newmarket Cheltenham, racing over jumps there on Wednesday. Beverley, Dundalk, Southall. Thursday is Newmarket Cheltenham again, Ripon, Clonmel and Chelmsford. And Friday, it's all-weather finals day at Lingfield, which we're going to cover in great detail on Wednesday's Postcast, so again stay tuned for that. And we've also got Newcastle and Bath as well. But tomorrow is when it all kicks off, really. We've got the field and the free handicap and the Nell Gwyn all to get stuck into. What are our thoughts on those sort of races, Jimmy? Start us off with, what entries are catching your eye?
Well, Nell Gwyn's going to be fascinating. I'm waiting for a filly to kind of grab my eye for the 1,000 guineas. I mean, I really haven't seen anything from last season at all. The one I think is likeliest to win is Motjur in the Nell Gwyn. I'm expecting her to confirm the form with Angel's Hideaway. I was impressed by her that day when she won the Oh So Sharp last season. She looked to handle the track really well, looks a genuine type, and won a shade Cosley. So she was improving towards the end of last term. I'm expecting more improvement from her. In the Fielden, I think Western Australia is the most likeliest winner, based on his form in the Vertemps maturity behind Magna Grecia. He was also fourth to Persian King in the Autumn Stakes. There's some interesting types in that race. He's probably a little bit more exposed than them, but I think he's got the standout form. And in the free handicap, I think you've got to stick with Azano. Okay. After his second to Mahafa in the Horace Hill. That form got a real boost. I mean, my only slight concern with him, he's probably a horse that will improve for a longer distance. You might just get a bit outpaced going into the dip, but if he can handle the dip, he's got a good chance of winning.
Yeah, Robbie, I don't know about you, but when I was looking at these races, I thought there could be the potential for a few surprises along the way.
I think so, yeah. It's still early days in the season. I'll just give you my little roundup, just as Jimmy's done. In the Nell Gwyn, I thought Main Edition had the best form in the book, by virtue of her third to Just Wonderful, and Dandu has obviously gone out and won on the weekend in the Rockfell. Fifth in the Moy Gleb, Hunskitter Scatter, Hermosa Zagatova. Lady Kaya's gone and won the 1,000 trial in Ireland as well. She'd be the way I'd be looking. In the Fielden States, I agree with Jimmy that Western Australia would be tough to beat, but I think the best long-term prospect might be Burke's Kedar. He missed a couple of engagements last year on account of the going. I think he needs a bit of dig in the ground. Yeah, they were talking about potentially going fresh to the Guineas with him. That's how highly they regard this horse. Son of Scat Daddy, plenty of stamina and a dam's pedigree. It's good to firm at Newmarket at the moment, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was withdrawn at the last minute because the same events transpired last season. And in the Craven, touched upon it earlier, Zakuski's the interesting one, only raced once. But
skip forward to Wednesday there. Sorry, free handicap. It doesn't matter.
I don't have anything for the free handicap. I'll just say my piece on the Craven, and now I've started. I thought Royal Marine was more interesting than the Godolphin pair. John Lagardère victory. A bit disappointing Maidan in January, beating at odds on, but I think Zakowski might get found out for a bit of experience. And Rob Marine is a slightly bigger price, as I'm aware of. So.
Yeah, we'll jump back to that. Binners, any thoughts on Tuesday and any betting?
Yeah, well, I've got the betting for the Nell Gwyn, Maddie. We make that Mo Juice 3-1 favourite, then it's 7-2 main edition 4 Angels Hideaway, 13-2 the rest. I'll come back to that with one of my selections later, Maddie, when we do the naps and the next best at the end. In the 3 o'clock, Robbie was big on Kedar. I am as well. The Burke team were really talking that horse up last year. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Whether he'll be able to win this first time out, who knows, but very keen on him. 7-4 Western Australia, 7-2 Kedar, 7-2 Kick On, 8 Walk in the Sand, 9 Bar. And then in the field, and as Arno, as we've already said, the form was frank the other day. He's got a lovely racing weight of 9 stone 1, and we've put him in as 7-4 favourite accordingly, with Arctic Sound at 3-1, 7-2 Shine So Bright, 7 Kuwait Currency, and it's 10 the rest.
Thanks very much, Binners. On Wednesday it is the Craven, Robbie, and then we've got the Arbonant Stakes as well, and the Wood Ditton, which is always a fun puzzle to solve, finding out which 3-year-old with the best pedigree is going to come out on top. But we'll start off with the Craven. First off, Binners, can you just read us through the prices for that?
Yeah, I certainly can, Maddie. Looks a real nice trial. Zakowski, who Robbie's already mentioned, 6-4 favourite. Royal Marine 3-1. Scardu at 13-2, 15-2 Set Piece, 10-1 for Bon Viveur, Martin Mead's Confiding, and it's 10-1 Prince LG and 14 Bar.
Thank you. Jimmy, do you buy this hype about Zakowski? Because there seems to be word on the street about how he's beaten Auxerre in a gallop, giving him weight. He's just the next coming. Obviously, he beat a highly rated horse in Headman when we last saw him. Just won the 1 start at Kempton. Do you think he could be as good as people are saying?
It's hard to tell on that run. I mean, on that run, whilst he was impressive and I liked his attitude and everything, you didn't immediately think, wow, we've got a superstar here. So, I mean, you're really going on, the general word of mouth that this horse could be really quite special. I mean, I certainly won't be backing him here. It'll be a watching brief for me in terms of him. I do think he provides plenty of value in the rest of the market. I think Watan, for instance, trained by Richard Hannon, ridden by Ryan Moore. I mean, big price. I mean, bigger than 10-1. It's unusual to find those two. With a horse at such big double-figure odds, especially as Watan has got as good a form as anything. I think he's got the highest RPR recorded in Britain, and his second to Phoenix Spain in the Acomb reads really well. A little bit concerned if the ground might be a bit too quick, but if he can handle the track, I mean, he should do. He handled Goodwood very well on his debut. I think he's a value in the race.
Yeah, I'm with Robbie. I think Royal Marine, he does set the standard, doesn't he? By quite some way.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was kind of punted on during the day, and there might have been maybe a slight flip-flop between Zakowski and Royal Marine. But there's a lot of hype around, and you have to take note of that. But I'd rather sort of pay attention to the actual form in the book at this stage. Yeah,
that's all you can do, isn't it, after all? And he's got a similar profile to Massa. Of course, went over to Dubai. Things didn't work out for him over there, but you can excuse him that. And in the Abonant Stakes, I mean, it doesn't look perhaps the strongest renewal, but we've got Brando coming back, always runs his race in this race. Horses like Dreamfield, who promised a lot. Any thoughts, lads?
Well, I was at Craven Day last year, and I saw Brando in the paddock, and he was an absolute standout that day. I find it very difficult to look beyond him here. I mean, he's £6 clear on official ratings. He's got an excellent record fresh. If he's in the same sort of form as he was when he won the Abonant, easily, I thought 12 months ago, I think he's as good a bet as you'll find over the 3 days.
Okay, do you agree, Robbie?
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Brando will win that for me. He's the best horse in the race. Genuine Group 1 horse. I'm not sure the remainder of opposition are Group 1 horses. And if he goes well fresh, as we know, and it'll be tough to stop.
Okay, just the one sort of big race we're going to talk about on Thursday, which is the Earl of Sefton. Binners, run us through the prices for that one.
Well, Maddie, we haven't priced that one up yet. We'll have those prices on Wednesday, but it does look a very exciting contest.
Yeah, quite an open renewal, I think, Jimmy, and some horses on a bit of a retrieval mission.
Yeah, plenty on a retrieval mission. I mean, Mustachio, I think, is a solid option.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have a £5 penalty, so it's not going to be easy. But he got that for 2 Group 2 wins last season. He was also a good second to Lord Glitters at York. So I do think he's a class act in the race. He was impressive, I thought, when he won the Joel Stakes here at Newmarket last term. And he won first time out last season, so we know he goes well fresh. So yeah, I think whilst he wouldn't be a strong selection, he's a most likely winner.
Anything catch your eye?
Just looking at jockey bookings now, Jim Crowley dropped up on Elikam rather than Mustachary, which might be quite interesting. Elikam was disappointing, wasn't he, last season? I thought he seemed to have the world at his feet. He's unbelievably well bred by Frankel. Out of what was it? Attraction. I need to say acclamation, but that's obviously a sire. You know, I was muddling my words.
I'll forgive you.
I think I spelled or pronounced Mo Jus wrong earlier, by the way. So apologies for that. I won't let you know. I won't let you know what I got in my French.
I did bite my lip at the time, Jim. I must say. Yeah. I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Elikam, really interesting runner. I'd have thought Crowley would be jocked up on Mustachary, which I don't know if that suggests that Elikam's working well at home. Maybe Johnson's found the key to him this season. Looks a watching brief for me, but I'll be interested to see how those Handan Amaktoum pair get on.
Okie dokie. As I mentioned, Cheltenham this week, lots of other action as well as the stuff at Newmarket. Have we got any fancies before we go on to our naps?
Fidux could be quite an interesting runner at Cheltenham on Wednesday. I do like that horse, Mads. I was very impressed with him when he won at Ascot in November. First time he's going to be going over 2.5 miles, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets the trip. He'll certainly like the conditions, but I mean he's only £7 higher now than when he won that race at Ascot in November. So if he's back to that sort of form, I think he could be well treated.
Robbie, anything?
Yeah, got one at Cheltenham. Decent little card on Wednesday and Thursday. The 2 mile 4 handicap hurdle at 4.25 on Wednesday. Some decent horses entered up. We got On the Blind Side, Thomas Campbell, Rock Point. But I was quite interested in Go With The Flow, who I believe is a horse that you quite like.
Yes.
By Ben Pauling.
Used to love that horse.
It's not quite gone to plan over fences this season. He's been disappointing in 2 starts. Could revert back to hurdles of a mark of 1.32. A couple of bits of form last year, which
Paisley Park,
suggests exactly defeated Paisley Park. We know that wasn't the Paisley Park of this season, and it was over 2.5 miles. But he was 8th in the Ballymore, probably rushed to get there as well. That could be a workable mark of 1.32 though, so I'll be keeping him on side if turning up.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out to me, Robbie. Now, no excuses for missing that. Binners, before we go on to the naps.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the extended 2.5 mile race at Cheltenham on Wednesday, Maddie, at 2:40. We've got that one priced up. We haven't got the final decks yet, but we've got it priced, and it looks a really competitive affair. We've got 5 horses on 8-1: Dolos, Happy Diva, Mr. Whitaker, Not Another Muddle, and Rennie's Girl. One of the ones on 10-1 I like, Highway 101 for Chris Gordon. I think Tom Cannon will ride that if he runs. And he disappointed a bit at Cheltenham, but very consistent before that. And I'd love to see Chris get into the winner's enclosure. Yeah,
Highway 101, got some good bits and pieces of handicap chasing form. Let's get your naps now.
This will not be beaten.
We'll mix this up. Paul Binfield, I'll go to you first.
Okay, well, my next best is Main Edition in the Nell Gwyn. I mentioned earlier. Good form behind Dan 2 last season. The winner, Just Wonderful, was 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. So I think Main Edition has got a great chance in the Nell Gwyn. And in the Craven, I'm siding a lot with Robbie Wilders this week. Hopefully we're both right. I'm going Royal Marine for Saeed and Christoph Sumil. He was disappointing in the UAE Guineas, but that was on dirt and he was slowly away. Before that, he beat Broomers, who Robbie already said, in the Jean-Luc Lagardère. And that one came out and won the Ballysax by 8 lengths. So that's tremendous form. And I think the favourite is far too short in that race, and it must be on reputation rather than what he's done on the track.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with that one. Definitely going to be hoping Royal Marine can get his head in front. Robbie?
Yeah, just like to say, you have great taste in horses, Binners, first of all.
Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate that.
My nap is actually reverting back to jumps at Cheltenham on Wednesday, the 2:40, the 2 mile 4.5 furlong handicap chase. Quite like Renee's Girl here, Dan and Harry Skelton in pursuit of 200 winners.
Yeah.
Looks like they're probably going to do that at some point. I like this mare. She's got some Grade 1 form in the book, beating 2 lengths at Aintree last season behind Finian's Oscar in the Mildmay. Surname was in 4th that day. He's obviously a different animal now, but she's rated 144. She had quite a light campaign. Last run over Christmas, she was 2nd to Lady Buttons. Skelton's been very effusive at the start of the season about this mare. And as I say, the mark of 144 looks workable, and she's versatile ground-wise, and I think she'll go well there.
Okay, and finally,
8 to
Jimmy.
1, Robbie.
8 to 1 about that. Yeah, I've nicked some 10s early in the week, but 8 to 1 is still a value price in my book.
Far too shrewd for most of us. Jimmy, sorry, go on.
The horse I like is Cupatana at Cheltenham on Thursday. I'm just trying to get the time. But yeah, she's been very unfortunate this season. She's should have won more races than she has. I think she had fallen, going into her last start at Kelso, she'd fallen in 3 of 4 previous attempts over fences. But she finally got it right for a new trainer, Paul Nicholls, at Kelso last time, winning by 18 lengths. Her jumping was much better. When she does get her jumping right, she's got loads of ability. And I expect her to reverse Ludlow form with Little Miss Pert, and I expect her to win again.
So that's the 240 on Thursday. Cupatana is going to be carrying Jimmy Hill's money in that one. Thanks for joining us today, Robbie, Jimmy and Binners. That's all we've got time for. As I mentioned, there's the all-weather finals postcast we're doing on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that, as well as Friday's tipping postcast. Best of luck this week, and we'll see you soon.
Here at Paddy Power, we're the home of the Money Back Special, with some incredible offers every single week. Check out the website or app today. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.